Hi. Hello, welcome to another video in our series for home gardening and growing vegetables. Filmed in New Zealand, so our seasons are opposite that of the Northern Hemisphere. Give it a go. Try to grow something. Failure is how we learn. Don't take it too serious. Have a go. Encourage others to try. Subscribe if you like it. Leave a constructive comment. Don't rely on supermarkets. The world is changing. How the Iran war could affect New Zealand food supplies. What happens in the Middle East could soon affect food prices and supermarket shelves here in New Zealand. Much of the world's oil, gas, fertilizer, and shipping passes through the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow sea route beside Iran. As the Iran war drags on, shipping delays and fuel costs are rising across the world. For New Zealand, the biggest risk is not running out of food completely, it's higher prices and disrupted imports. New Zealand imports many foods from overseas, including rice, canned goods, spices, cooking oils, processed foods, and some fruit and vegetables out of season. If fuel prices stay high, shipping becomes more expensive. That means imported food could cost more and take longer to arrive. There is also concern about fertilizer supplies. Around 1/3 of global fertilizer trade normally moves through the Gulf region. If fertilizer prices rise, farming costs in New Zealand could increase too, eventually affecting meat, milk, vegetables, and bread prices. But there is some good news. Major New Zealand food suppliers say supermarket shelves remain stable for now, and supply chains are adapting. Experts say New Zealand is unlikely to face severe food shortages, but households may notice higher grocery prices, fewer imported choices, and more seasonal buying. The longer the conflict continues, the more pressure there could be on global trade and food costs. Growing even a little of your own food, supporting local growers, and reducing waste may become more important than ever. Will food prices rise in New Zealand during 2026? New Zealanders could see noticeably higher food prices through 2026, and the ongoing Iran war may be one of the biggest reasons. The conflict has disrupted shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most important oil and gas routes. When oil prices rise, almost everything becomes more expensive to produce and transport. Food imported into New Zealand must travel thousands of kilometres by ship and truck. Higher fuel costs mean higher freight costs, and eventually higher supermarket prices. Shipping delays are also becoming more common as cargo routes change and insurance costs rise. That could affect imported products like rice, canned foods, cooking oils, frozen goods, spices, and out-of-season fruit and vegetables. The biggest long-term risk may be fertilizer. A large share of the world's fertilizer trade passes through the Gulf region near Iran. If New Zealand farms face shortages or much higher fertilizer prices, production costs could climb sharply. That affects milk, meat, bread, vegetables, and many other foods produced locally. Farmers are already warning about a double hit from rising diesel and fertilizer costs. Global food prices have already reached their highest levels in more than 3 years. For New Zealand households, that could mean smaller grocery trips, fewer imported products, and more expensive everyday essentials. Going experts believe local food production and home gardening may become increasingly important if global supply disruptions continue. New Zealand still produces a lot of its own food, but in a global economy, overseas wars can still affect what ends up on your dinner table. Subscribe for more updates on New Zealand, food security, and global events. How New Zealanders can prepare for higher food prices. As the Iran war continues, affecting oil prices and global shipping, many New Zealanders are asking, How can we prepare for higher food costs and possible shortages? One of the simplest ways is to start growing even a small amount of your own food. You don't need a farm. A few pots, a raised bed, or even buckets on a deck can help reduce grocery bills. Some of the quickest and easiest vegetables to grow in New Zealand include lettuce, spinach, silver beet, radishes, spring onions, bok choy, peas, and carrots. Leafy greens are especially useful because you can harvest them again and again from the same plant. Silver beet and spinach are popular with beginner gardeners because they grow quickly and tolerate cooler weather. Winter vegetables like broccoli, cabbage, kale, and cauliflower can also provide food during months when supermarket prices often rise. Even growing herbs or salad greens can make a difference. Start small, learn a few easy crops first, then expand over time. Another way to prepare is by keeping a larger pantry of long-life foods. Tinned vegetables, beans, tomatoes, rice, pasta, oats, flour, lentils, and dried peas can store for months or even years. The key is rotation. Use older items first and replace them gradually instead of panic buying. Global shipping disruptions could continue for a long time if conflict and fuel costs remain high. That may mean imported foods become more expensive or less available at times. Many New Zealanders are also returning to older skills like preserving, freezing, fermenting, and storing seasonal produce. No one knows exactly how long global disruptions may last, but growing some food, reducing waste, and keeping a sensible pantry can help households become more resilient. Subscribe for more New Zealand food security and gardening updates.